Do you dream of becoming a mom? Have you felt called to this for as long as you can remember, or perhaps in the last few years? Or maybe you're just curious about what life would be like if you were to pursue that path. However, do you find it uncomfortable to talk about it? Do you almost feel like it's not safe or that you shouldn't? Because you've been met with comments like, don't worry about it. It will happen on its own. Or you might have even been told that it will ruin your life. So today we are going to tackle this so that you can stand confidently in your desire, pursue your own vision, and keep your head up high, while also having tips and tricks that you can keep in your back pocket in the event that you are faced with a deflective comment or something that feels like your goal of becoming a mom is lesser than or not worthy in pursuing. Let me start by telling you this. Your desire for becoming a mom is perfect. Hello and welcome to the Create Your Motherhood Summer Series. This is episode 5. I'm Melissa Colleret, lifestyle designer, transformational coach, and proud mama to a beautiful baby girl who is sleeping right now. So I have her fuzzy bunny with us in her place, and I am so excited to dive into today's topic. First, we're going to talk about why your desire for becoming a mom is a worthy goal. Second, the way we talk about motherhood, frankly, kind of sucks. And I'm going to give you some tips and tools on how to change that, starting with yourself, and how to empower others to do the same, and be part of the conversation that opens up the conversation around motherhood before motherhood. Lastly, we're going to talk about how you can surround yourself by inspiring and empowering sources so that you can create fertile ground for your baby dreams to come true. Ready? Let's go. So first and foremost, your desire for becoming a mom is worthy. It's enough. It's perfect. And you don't have to justify it to anyone. If you feel called to becoming a mom, if you are curious about exploring that for yourself, then by all means, go for it. This is your life, your one precious life. Do what feels right and stand in that confidently. So let me give you this example. If you were to set the goal to run a marathon, chances are you might talk to someone who's run a marathon before or look things up on the internet, how to run a marathon. Even if you've never laced running shoes up on your feet, you would look for resources, maybe through books, podcasts, articles, or videos like these. And when you talk to people about it, sure, there'll be people that might say, oh my gosh, that is totally nuts. I would never run a marathon. And you might also be met by some that say, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Have you heard of this person? Have you read this book? You should check this girl out. She's so inspiring. She's ran marathons all over the world. You could learn a few tricks from her. And she actually teaches people how to run a marathon when you've never run around the block before, for example. Now imagine we had that sort of support and resources for someone who wants to become a mom before they become a mom. Because the way it is as of now, or my perception of it, is that often when someone wants to be a mom, people are like, okay, cool, or maybe there's the deflective comments as I mentioned before, and yet resources and advice tend to flood in when they're already running the damn race, when they're pregnant, or have the baby in their arms. And I want to change that. I want to prepare you for this marathon called motherhood long before you are lining up for the race to begin. And just like a marathon, you got to break it down. Some people, without any experience, will just, hit the ground running and go for it. Power to them. But if you're like me, you might want to prepare yourself, mind, body, and spirit, such that the journey to the marathon is actually an enjoyable and pleasant one. Now, the way we talk about motherhood can kind of suck, and we can change that. If you've ever been told not to worry about it, or it'll happen in its own time, or they'll ruin your life, or maybe you work in an environment where you don't talk about wanting to be a mom because you might lose your job or not get the promotion you've been working your butt off for, well, I'm going to give you the components to consider. Number one, focus on you. This is one of the fundamental principles that I shared with you last week to set the tone for your journey to motherhood. And you can only control how you react, how you respond to your environment. And this may influence how people start treating you. So it's best to start with yourself and to notice how people are speaking about motherhood around you, to then take control of and think about, how do you want to respond? How do you want to talk about your journey in motherhood? So I challenge you to do this for the next week, month or so, and forever really. Pay attention to the way you speak about motherhood, how you engage in the conversations in the event that you're speaking to people about motherhood, pregnancy, babies, everything that it entails. And notice just your wording, because words matter. The second thing is I invite you to also capture what triggers you. Pay attention. What gets activated? And if you can, I invite you to write these down and to journal, because our triggers are our teachers. And when you can look at them from a more objective point of view, you can then think about, oh, what is this saying about me? What is this trigger trying to wake me up to? I'll give you an example. For the longest time, I would get so offended when someone would tell me not to worry about my desire for being a mom. It would bring me to tears. But looking back, what I now see is that those tears were actually a gift, trying to bring me on my path and to wake me up to the fact that this was something that was really important to me. And there were areas in my life that were out of integrity with that desire, starting with the way I talked about it and certain habits that could shift that would bring me back on track to pursue that goal. Now, when faced with deflective comments or a way of speaking around motherhood that feels inauthentic or out of integrity with your values, get curious. Ask someone why they tell you not to worry about it, or why do they think it will ruin your life. Now, you may not want to get curious about everyone's comments, and that's okay. But there might be some people, particularly those who you are in close contact with, your friends and family. You know, if someone gives you a comment that you'll never see again forever, then maybe you don't want to engage that conversation, although sometimes those could be extremely enlightening. So you can also practice on people that you'll never see again. It can be a little easier to have these types of conversations than with, say, your parents, who you might be really nervous to confront if you feel they haven't been supporting you on your journey, for example. The next thing is to stand your ground. You are the captain of your ship. Stand your ground. What they say is more a reflection of them than it is of you. Honor your sovereignty, honor your power. You are allowed to do what you want, even if it displeases those around you. So stand your ground. If this is what you're feeling called to, amen. That's all I'm going to say about it. Practice compassion towards yourself and towards others. A lot of people in conversations sometimes just don't know what to say, and we've gotten into the habit of saying things that, when we think about it, aren't what we would want to say if we were prepared for the conversation. How often do you say, "How are you doing?" to someone when you're not actually wanting to know? It's just a habit. So there might be ways of speaking around motherhood that have become habitual for you, but also for others. And I invite you to practice compassion for those who don't know any better, or just may not have the awareness of the impact it might have on others. And also for yourself, because as you go on this journey, you might notice moments that have really hurt you, or the impact that cumulative comments have had on your confidence or your desire, or even the way you look at your journey to motherhood. And this is the next thing, feel it all. It's okay to feel sad, angry, upset, resentful, frustrated, so that you can move on. I'm not saying to stay in those emotions, but if you disregard them from the get-go, they're going to linger and hold on to you like crazy glue. So instead, let them be there. Notice what they're just trying to share with you. Give them a little bit of attention, let them go, and then keep going. Just to wrap up the piece around how we talk about motherhood and how you can powerfully change that in your life. So 1, focus on you. 2, get curious. 3, stand your ground. 4, practice compassion. And lastly, feel it all. The last point I want us to cover today is how you can surround yourself with inspiring and empowering sources so that you can stay on track and on your journey. Think of your journey to motherhood as the pre-trimester. You may know how people protect their first trimester like it's sacred. The entire journey to motherhood is sacred, by the way. And a lot of people won't share that they're pregnant until they've reached a certain milestone in their pregnancy, typically 3 months or so. However, if you're like me, you will share with those closest to you because you're so excited, and it's also really nice to have that beautiful energy, supporting this being that's growing inside of you. You want to bring that in your life before conception or before whatever route you're going to take to bring motherhood into your life. So that being said, there are those that you want to share this information with and those that you won't. That's okay. You don't have to share it. You're screaming from the mountaintops unless it feels right for you. But otherwise, get really clear around who is your support group, who is your, journey to motherhood cheerleaders. And those are the people you want to talk to, and those that aren't, and that's okay. Now, one of the core principles in the Create Your Motherhood program is creating fertile ground. And one element of that concept is that sometimes you need to clear the way, pull out the weeds in order to create fertile ground. So what I mean by that is that you want to create an environment that is fertile and rich with the kind of energy and positivity and good vibes that you need to prepare yourself for motherhood, but also prepare your mind, body, and spirit for the conception or creation or calling in of motherhood in your life. So this is not necessarily something that happens overnight, but as you enter this journey and as you get more intentional about it, you might realize that there's some people or places or things in your life that are weeds and that need to be pulled out, tossed out, and just unfortunately have no more room in your garden. And that's life. Now, you don't have to make some crazy life changes here, but you might. There might be some friends that you're like, you know what, this is just no longer working for me. Or there might be some TV shows that you watch that you realize, this is like poison for my journey in motherhood, and I need to get it out if I want to grow a beautiful, thriving garden called motherhood. Lastly, hire a professional, a therapist, a coach, a healer, or whatever type of professional you feel called to hold sacred space for you and to support you on your journey to motherhood. I was so fortunate to work with an incredible coach for several years, on and off. From the time that I recovered from colorectal cancer to our last conversation was just a few months ago. We've developed a strong relationship over time. Her name is Ellie Valentine. She's a mindset mentor based in Montreal. She provided me with the most powerful conversation that I have ever had around motherhood to date. And I'm forever grateful for it because it was truly a turning point in my life. One of the core reasons I've created the Create Your Motherhood program and writing a book about it, and why I'm so passionate about supporting aspiring mamas to stand proudly in their desire for motherhood, because she gave me the space to go there, to talk about it without any ounce of judgment, but rather curiosity, support, and so much love. So I remember sitting in Ellie's office in Westmount above the florist on Victoria Avenue, sitting on a couch very similar to this, talking about my coaching business and recent heartache, which eventually led to my desire around becoming a mom. To be perfectly honest, I kind of expected her to just circle back to my business and what was happening in my love life, but instead she got curious and dug in, asked me what it was about becoming a mom that's so important to me. And we explored that conversation. At first, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what's happening? You're letting me talk about this and why it's so important? And she eventually guided me through one of the most powerful visualizations I've ever had that actually connected me to my desire to motherhood in a way like never before. I got a vision of holding a baby girl, and there was a man and a young boy by the water who I assumed was my partner. The little boy, I wasn't sure. This conversation was a catalyst for so much change in my life. I left that conversation, one, feeling like my desire for motherhood was valid, two, also with this new perspective that there was different ways I could express the idea and definition and the importance of motherhood in my life just as it was at that time, through being a dog mom, through being an aunt, through the way I was working. I was actually managing a restaurant at the time while I was growing my coaching business. Or maybe I just stopped working at the restaurant. Anyways, that's kind of irrelevant. But I was able to see how I could express that what I wanted to be expressed in my life as it was. So it was extremely powerful, and that was in an hour, which is also why I'm leading a free webinar, actually 2 free webinars on this coming Tuesday, to support you and create that kind of space for you to explore your desire for motherhood, provide you with tons of tips and tools, and for you to leave feeling inspired, connected, confident, and in a world of possibility for you to realize your journey your way. So there you have it. Surround yourself with inspiring sources. Think of your pre-trimester and who are the key people that are your support team. Pull out the weeds and hire a professional. Lastly, as a bonus, I would say, check out, maybe Instagram accounts, put inspiring moms on your vision board. Just surround yourself by images as well of motherhood that really inspire you, and that will also fuel you in ways that you may never understand and probably will in a few years to come. So there you have it. There's so much more I would want to dig into here with you, but I'm going to keep it at that. This is a little bit of a longer episode than previous weeks. Next week, I'm coming at you with, should you even become a mom in this crazy world? I know some of you might be asking yourself this question, should I be a mom? The world is we're in a global pandemic, there's wars, and there's all sorts of really nasty things happening in our environment. So should you even go down that route? So we're going to dig into that question next week. And don't forget, if there's any topic that you would like me to cover during this series, please send them my way. Or if there's a question you want to ask me personally around that's more specific to your journey in motherhood, shoot me an email. It will be my pleasure. And I hope to see you next week for the Create Your Motherhood webinars. I'll link the information below. More importantly, I hope to see you in the Create Your Motherhood program that starts September 14th. It's going to be an incredible way to not only end 2021, but to set you up for the rest of your life. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what's landed for you. What is one thing that you're taking away from this video? And please share it with your friends. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Ready to create your motherhood? Be one of the incredible women to take part in the inaugural group experience that starts September 14th. Head to melissaccolleret.com for all the details and sign up today.